The City of Johannesburg MMC for Public Safety, Councillor Mgcini Tshwaku is inviting all stakeholders to join a webinar focusing on the city's initiatives to address crime and improve the safety and security of all residents. It comes as the world's largest database of user-contributed data about city and country perception. Numbeo ranked Johannesburg the 5th most dangerous city in the world. We're now joined by Joburg Public Safety MMC, Dr. Mgcini Tshwaku. Dr. Tshwaku, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, this webinar seems to be one which will focus a lot on finding solutions. I mean, Johannesburg being dubbed the 5th most dangerous city in the world is a massive concern. Talk to us about the kind of structure that will take place as you look to some solutions.
No, thank you very much. Good evening to yourself and also to the viewers that are there at home. Look, this webinar that we're going to have is a stakeholder engagement that brings all the stakeholders together to really, it's going to be very broad in terms of what needs to really happen in terms of your bylaws enforcement, criminality, and like all those things there. So we want to get some enrichment. We want to get some ideas from our people in terms of what are the issues which are out there, and then how can we really all of us in one to really be able to tackle, you know, these issues. Especially I know that the citizens of Johannesburg have been crying very hard in terms of the enforcement of the bylaw. We've done our bit. But I think that more it needs to be done. We offer in the steps, everyone, so that we can all join together into the struggle. Because currently, what I see is that we are working in silos. Launching of this unit, launching of that unit. But if together we can work as one and jointly, I think that we can win this war of the crime prevention and combating Johannesburg and bylaw enforcement as well.
You speak about bylaw enforcement, and a lot has been said about the manner in which the enforcement occurs, because some residents may not even be aware that they have this platform to voice concerns and address matters which could easily escalate out of control.
Look, remember said this webinar is just the inputs coming from the stakeholder out there. Also, we've got our outreach a unit that is there distributing pamphlets. We've been actually on the ground listening to our people in terms of the issue that are out there concerning bylaw enforcement and the crimes and everything. Because remember, on the crime, we need to these, the communities as well, because you've got, the patrollers which are out there. They're actually our eyes and ears. So they still have some issues that probably after the strategy session, we'll be able to come and outline in terms of how we're going to assist them in terms of being very effective to help us on criminality. On the bylaw in enforcement, I think on that webinar, you will get a clarity in terms of what has been the challenges that we're facing at the City of Johannesburg to really enforce them, the issues of the manpower, because that unit, as we found them, we tried, when we arrived, we did enforce a lot of bylaws when we went to inspect bad buildings. We went to, after people were doing illegal dumping and all of that. But our deeper analysis has found that we're actually, there's no capacity in terms of we need more manpower. Before, I think about 10 years ago, that unit used to consist of strong men and women, about 600. Currently, there's been an attrition rate, there's been deaths and everything. So the unit you've left with only about 200 to 300 individuals which are doing, this bylaw. And on the shift system that we're having currently, you'll find that if it's a 40 in, 40 out, you will be left with plus minus 100, 150 people that needs to enforce bylaw in the city of Johannesburg. So this webinar will be getting those input, clarifying to our people, and also we're going to use that platform to really break down in terms of what are these bylaws and what is going to be happening in the next financial year, because bylaw enforcement is at top of the agenda, like it was. I mean, the issue of crime last time when we came in is going to be very top of the agenda. And I think so many people are going to be disturbed because I know that there are so many people who are contravening these laws.
Yeah.
So obviously, before we can do
more so, Dr.
public...
Tshwaku, as we speak about communities who may be expressing some dissatisfaction around liquor outlets being built close to schools and churches, and looking at the ripple effect on their children, on the safety of the community, a lot of complaints around the issuing of liquor licenses also coming to the forefront. Residents asking, how does a liquor license get approved if the bylaws have been infringed upon?
Yeah, that is a very good point. You know, that's why the stakeholder engagement has invited SABC as well, because remember, the enforcement of the liquor license is the competence of SABC and the liquor board. So these stakeholders, they must come to the party as well, because we want to see in terms of how can we work with them, because these licenses are being issued, and ourselves as part of the city, we are not actually taken into the loop. We see all these, the taverns mushrooming everywhere. And also you can even add that, the scrapyards. The scrapyards are mushrooming everywhere. It's not the competence of the city, it's the competence of SABC. So we want to bring them together to say, when you're issuing these licenses, there be liquor licenses, there be the licenses, all of the scrapyards, can the city be involved? And we want to be on the loop. Because as you can see, that is the reason for this webinar, is to take our people in confidence, and also the stakeholders which are involved in the enforcement of the bylaw, like SABC, and then also other departments within the city that are involved in this bylaw. For example, the issue of noise, in the taverns, the bylaw that governs the noise in the taverns. You've illegal dumping, so city parks as well, Joburg water, all these stakeholders, we must come together and say, how can we work together as a team and enforce them? Because people are saying out there, it's JMPD, it's JMPD. It's not JMPD alone. There are bylaws that we can do on our own, which is the one of the EMS Act, because it's within the public safety. But there are other stakeholders like SABC, like the other departments in the city that needs to come together, and we have a joint operation and ensure that we're actually enforcing this. So this is actually a beginning of the engagement. So it's going to be carrying on, and we're going to be having operation next week. There's a strategy session that we're going to be having. So this webinar is going to be enriched, the discussion that we're going to be having next year, next week. And then from that strategy session, there'll be a program of action that will be running from the end of August up until the end of the financial year, combating this bylaw and the crime as well.